Welcome back to Brainwaves, where we dive deep into the psychology behind our everyday experiences. Today, we're exploring a topic that's close to the heart, literally. When it comes to relationships, everyone has their own way of showing love. But did you know that these behaviors and thought patterns often trace back to our childhood? Sometimes these love styles can be positive, fostering healthy relationships. Other times, they can be more challenging, leading to behaviors that might hinder our connections with others. Research shows that our childhood experiences play a significant role in how we relate to others as adults. According to a study, children who had secure relationships with their parents tend to develop healthier interpersonal relationships later in life. On the other hand, children who experienced instability or lack of affection during childhood are more likely to exhibit unhealthy behaviors in their adult relationships. Dr. Milan and Kay Yurkovich have identified 5 distinct love styles that often develop based on our childhood experiences. These love styles shape how we connect with others, how we express affection, and how we handle conflicts. In this video, we'll break down each of these love styles and explore what they might reveal about your childhood. 1. The avoider. First up is the avoider. People with this love style often come across as distant or unengaged in relationships. They tend to avoid emotional intimacy, not because they don't care, but because they've learned to protect themselves by keeping emotions at bay. This detachment can make it hard for them to connect on a deeper level with others. If you identify with the avoider love style, you might have grown up in a home where affection wasn't openly expressed. Perhaps your parents emphasized independence and self-reliance over emotional connection. When you were upset, you may not have received the comfort or reassurance you needed. Over time, you learn to suppress your feelings and rely on yourself rather than others. In adult relationships, avoiders might struggle to express their emotions or seek comfort from their partners, often leading to feelings of isolation or misunderstanding. They value their personal space and may feel uncomfortable when others try to get too close emotionally. 2. The vacillator. Next, we have the vacillator. The term vacillate means to waver between different opinions or actions, which perfectly describes this love style. Vacillators often idealize new relationships, seeing them as perfect and fulfilling. However, when the other person shows any sign of imperfection, doubt creeps in, and the vacillator may start to pull away or even consider ending the relationship. As a child, you might have grown up with an unpredictable parent, one who was emotionally unavailable or inconsistent in showing affection. This inconsistency could have led to a deep fear of abandonment. You learn to be hyper-vigilant, always on the lookout for signs that someone might be distancing themselves from you. In relationships, vacillators often experience a push-pull dynamic. They crave closeness and emotional intimacy, but are quick to withdraw when they sense any potential threat to the relationship. This can lead to a cycle of idealization followed by disappointment, making it difficult to maintain stable and fulfilling connections. 3. The controller. The controller love style is characterized by a need for control in relationships. If you resonate with this style, you might feel the urge to manage every aspect of your relationship to avoid the vulnerable, negative feelings you experienced as a child. Controllers often use anger as a way to express emotions and maintain a sense of power. Growing up, you may have lived in a home where you didn't feel protected. When faced with harm or uncertainty, no one was there to make sure you were safe. To cope, you learned to be emotionally tough and self-reliant, avoiding situations that might make you feel vulnerable. In adult relationships, controllers might struggle with letting go of control, often setting strict expectations and becoming angry or stressed when those expectations aren't met. This need for control can stem from a deep-seated fear of vulnerability and a desire to avoid the negative emotions they experienced in childhood. 4. The pleasers focus on making sure everyone around them is happy, often at the expense of their own needs and desires. They have a habit of monitoring the moods of those around them, constantly trying to keep the peace and avoid conflict. If someone's mood changes negatively, the pleaser might feel anxious, upset, or stressed. As a child, you might have grown up with a parent who was overly critical, angry, or protective. You learned early on that in order to avoid negative responses from your parents, you needed to be compliant and keep them happy. Rather than receiving comfort from your parents, you may have found yourself in the position of comforting them, apologizing for things beyond your control. In adult relationships, pleasers often struggle with saying no and may go to great lengths to avoid conflict, even if it means compromising their own well-being. This can lead to feelings of resentment and burnout as they constantly put others' needs before their own. 5. The victim. Finally, we have the victim love style. Victims often lack self-worth and may suffer from depression or anxiety. Rather than actively engaging in life, they might go through the motions, feeling more like they're surviving than truly living. In relationships, it's common for victims to gravitate toward controllers, as this dynamic mimics what they experienced in childhood. If you identify with the victim love style, you might have grown up in a chaotic home, with parents who were angry or even violent. To protect yourself, you learn to be compliant, keeping a low profile to avoid drawing negative attention. Imagination became a refuge, a way to escape the harsh realities of your environment. In adulthood, victims might continue to seek out relationships where they can take on a passive role, allowing a controller to dominate the dynamic. This can feel familiar and even comforting, despite the negative impact it may have on their self-esteem and overall well-being. These 5 love styles provide valuable insights into how our childhood experiences shape the way we approach relationships as adults. By understanding our love style, we can begin to recognize the patterns that may be holding us back from forming healthy, fulfilling connections. If you identified with any of these love styles, it's important to remember that awareness is the first step toward change. Understanding why we behave a certain way in relationships can help us break free from unhealthy patterns and create more positive, supportive connections with others. So what's your love style? Did any of these descriptions resonate with you? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. And if you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Brainwaves for more content that helps you understand the psychology behind your life. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.